In this video, what I'd like to do is to explain the Recherche score. We call it the Recherche score because it is a personality assessment score that we have put together. We used to use the Vollard aptitude test and many other tests, but we are different than any breeder that I know of. Those Vollard aptitude tests are made for breeders that home their puppies at 8 weeks of age. And so you're doing these tests at 5 to 6 weeks of age. And the truth is, we did that for years, literally did that test over 700 times. And we have learned that that test is about 50% accurate. Nobody can get a puppy's personality even close to being right until they are older and trained. What makes us unique is that we only sell trained puppies, and we have trained over 1,500 puppies over the last 15 years. And so we have learned that our personality score is more accurate, is more indicative of what the puppy is to be able to give you their normal and natural personality. And so we score the puppy in 3 different areas, and I'm gonna go through that in just a second. But before I do that, let me explain when I say normal and natural personality. Personalities are changeable, just like in people. I would say 60% of a puppy's personality is genetic, and about 40% is going to be environmental. Now, it can be different depending on how extreme the environment is. And so when I'm giving you their personality scores, I'm giving you what their normal and natural bent is on each of their personalities. But there has been people that have seen a dog, loved the dog, they wanted a calmer dog, but this dog was more energetic. And they were like, oh, this dog's gonna be hyper their whole lives. And we have to explain to them that if you work on them, if you exercise them, if you train them, they will get calmer. And vice versa, you can change a personality. And that's going to be based on how well you do at training and nurturing and socializing your puppy. So a dog that's shy and timid, you can desensitize it. We do that here all the time, where a puppy is naturally shy and timid, but because we take them on field trips and take them to many people and many places, they become more and more and more confident, and they can actually become more confident than a dog that's naturally confident. I'm sure you've owned a dog before where you were able to coax them out of their shell. And that is what I do want to say. Some people focus on these numbers and they want exactly these certain numbers, but the danger in that is one, puppies change. So the older they are, the less they change. The younger they are, the more they change. So realize that. And number 2, you can change their personalities by socializing, by training them, by desensitizing them. So let me go through our 3 numbers. The first number is the dependency score. We score them 0 to 10 and how dependent they are. The lower the number, the more independent they are, the less they need to be with people. Now, all puppies and dogs in general are more dependent. Some breeds are more dependent than others. For example, a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel is super clingy as a breed, so are Golden Retrievers. And then some breeds are not as dependent. So these numbers are based on their breed specific. So a 7 out of 10 Cavalier is going to be different than a 7 out of 10 Labrador Retriever. They're just different breeds. So remember, this is breed specific. The first number though, the higher that number, the more dependent they are. So the pros of a very dependent dog is they're typically very loving. They love to be with you. They want to be with you. They're the first to come, the last to leave our side. They're very affectionate. They're typically very social. That doesn't mean they're social around everybody. That's more of the confidence score. But they tend to be more social, more confident. The lower the score is, the less needy and clingy they are. The negatives about having a very dependent dog is that they also can have a harder time with being separated from you. So if you leave your dog at home and you're for 8 hours and you leave them outside in the yard, a very dependent dog is going to have a harder time with that. Now again, they can get used to that, but a very dependent dog wants to be with people as much as possible. An independent dog we call content. They're content to be with you, and they're content not to be with you. They're not needy, they're not clingy. So the higher the number, the more dependent they are. The lower the number, the more independent they are. The second number is our activity score. The lower the number, the calmer, the more laid back they are. The higher the number, the more outgoing and energetic they are. Again, this is breed specific. And so a dog that's higher energy, that's 7, 8 out of 10, they're playful, they're happy. They're a dog that's more energetic. Those are the dogs that typically are easier to train because they're just more energetic, they have more energy. And a dog that's calmer is a dog that's obviously more laid back. The positives of having a dog that's more outgoing is that if you have kids, if you like to do walks, you like to do things, the outgoing dog is going to do that. They have a little bit more personality. Typically, the more energetic dogs, they have a little bit more energy. The calmer dogs, the positive of that is that they're typically lower maintenance. They're not dogs that tend to get into trouble. They're dogs that are easier to manage. They just have lower energy. The negative about a calmer dog is a lot of times you'll struggle with weight because they're lazy. And we run into that a lot with Cavaliers, sometimes with Goldens. And so you have to almost force them to get up and get off the couch and not to be so lazy. And so there's negatives and positives to both. So the higher the number, the more active they are. The lower the number, the calmer they are. The last number is our confidence score. 0 to 10 on how confident they are. The higher the number, the more confident they are, the more fearless they are. A high number typically means they're easier to train because they're less afraid of everything. Their normal and natural bent is not to be fearful, is not to be timid, and they are typically the best trained puppies in their litter because they don't struggle with socialization. They are afraid of nothing. So an 8, 9 out of 10 is a dog that's extremely confident and fearless, and they are afraid of almost nothing. The lower the number, the more shy and timid they are, the more sensitive they are. Now the positives with when a lower number is that they're typically less stubborn, less hard-headed. They want to please you. They require the least correction. Typically a dog that's very sensitive is a dog that verbal correction is all you need. A dog that's really strong and a dog that's really confident and fearless, you could give them a correction and they may look at you and be like, that's all you got? And they may require harder corrections. They may require a prong collar if they're pulling on a leash and you can't control them, or even a shock collar if you have to. A dog that's more sensitive, those are like the opposite things you need. And you just have to work on those dogs at being more outgoing. So you're gonna take them more on field trips and you're gonna take them more on car rides, and your job is to coax them out of their shell. But the nice thing about those dogs is they're typically the sweet ones. They're the dogs that are really cuddly, very sweet, very affectionate. So there's pros to cons to all the numbers. And again, the big thing I wanna focus on is that these are their normal and natural personality bents. They're not permanent. And the other thing I want to bring out is the puppies that are young. So if you see us listing a puppy 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks of age, realize that we're guessing more than a puppy at 10, 11 months. The older they are, the more set in stone their personality bents are, the better we are at grading them. Obviously, the longer they're in training, the more we know their personalities. So I hope this video helped you in the personality assessment scores. If you have any questions, give us an email or a call. Thank you so much, and God bless.